Here we go.
All right, talking about focus today. All right, but maybe not in a way that you have understood the word before, because this gets thrown around so much. Me and Ash were just talking about this. Like, this idea is so overplayed in the general self-development world, but I don't see anyone talking about these specific dimensions that of the word focus that we're going to go into today, right? Because each word can be unpacked and they're redefined. So we're here to help you redefine focus and actually focus on it, so you can live the word, right? And then actually see things through to the end, to the result that you really want, right? Because the stuff that Aspen and I have built for a while now, it's required an immense amount of focus, and we've fallen short a few times along the way, so let's regain all that focus, right, and be able to put it on exactly what you intend to put it on, so we can really help you grow what you need to grow.
Something that's a very common among the average person, and when I say the average person, I mean I'm talking about myself, from 3 to 5 years ago, but I'm also talking about things that everyone's always working through, that we're always implementing these points. Just like we always mention, we need to be reminded more than we need to learn something new. We're always implementing these points at a higher level. We talked about that on the last ones. And I typically, we have a habit.
Hey, hold on, as if you just cut out. You said we have a habit. My guess is what Asif is saying is we have a habit of going after shiny objects. We have a habit of filling up our plate more than it needs to be filled. And that will cause us a lot of strife and will actually just keep us stuck.
Project, right?
Hey. You're back now. You cut out.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you were talking about the habit that we have. I guess what it is. What is it?
It's we start, but we don't finish, right? We have the excitement of being able to start a project and be like, oh, like there's a good income opportunity here. There's a good relationship opportunity here. I'm gonna get into the relationship with this person. It's gonna be so good, whatever the case may be. But we don't finish. And what you'll notice as the quote unquote the excitement or the relationship that you had with that thing in your mind, the projection about how you thought it was going to go, when you start bringing that into reality, when quote unquote reality hits, you start losing focus. If you're in a relationship and you're like, oh damn, she's not perfect and I'm not perfect, oh fuck, we're human beings, damn it, it's not this thing that was in my mind. You start thinking about other girls, you start thinking about other relationships. If you're in a business, same thing. You're like, oh, this business is harder than I thought. What? I don't just start the business, I don't just invest in the business and it just makes me money. What? I can't just put my money in it and then just kind of just tell one person about it, then they're just going to go bring me a bunch of people and make a bunch of money. Oh man, maybe there's an easier business. You start looking at other businesses and your focus becomes split. So as we talk about this word focus, consider these two words, convergent and divergent. Convergence, it's like if you saw a graphic of a magnifying glass, okay, and the light was passing through it, and then it hits the magnifying glass, and then the light will become convergent. It will become focused on a spot, versus divergent, it would be the opposite. Something hits that a piece of glass, and it's a convex glass. Don't worry too much if you don't know the technical stuff, but I believe it's convex. And it becomes more split. It becomes more widely spread. So consider those words, the focus in the context of convergence and divergence.
Yeah.
But Mitch, have you noticed that too? Like it's easy to start something, but over time it gets a little
yeah. And then you go through that enough, and then you realize, okay, this ain't this is not working. Even though again it feels exciting, it feels fun.
Right.
One other helpful piece of information here is if you actually look at the word focus and where it comes from the Latin word, which is focus, which means hearth or fireplace. So hearth is like where you would have a fire in a home. But really think about that. If you could actually look at history and how people built their homes, right? Which is where you live. It's like the most important thing for you. And in the very middle would be the fireplace, right? So you can keep you and your family warm and alive. And so that's very interesting, isn't it? Like that's where the word focus actually comes from. And so within yourself, right? What is that central point within you? And what are you focused on all day long? And is it converging all on the most important thing you can be doing to move everything in your life forward? Or is it, you know, divergent, and is it split? No, you jumping here and jumping there, because if it's jumping here and jumping there, you will never reach large amounts of success. You might have a little thing here and there, but that's like you're going to the casino and you got lucky, or you're jumping from machine to machine. Oh, I won here. Oh, but then you lost here. Oh, I won a little bit. Oh, but you lost again. Right. And you're just jumping and jumping, and you'll live the rest of your damn life doing that. Or if you want to be in the Young Billionaires Club and really live it, right, you have to have the focus. So we're going to help you start to develop that today.
So, something for everyone to consider. For those of you who know the famous investor Warren Buffett, for example, and these other famous investors, they weren't betting on hundreds and hundreds of horses or companies, and then, you know, and that's how they made their money. They made a handful of good bets, very small amount of good bets. They're very selective in how they were choosing what to invest in. And it was from that selectiveness, their focus on, let's see if this one horse will take me there. That's how they made their money. That's how many people make their money. And over time, long term, you can diverge. You can step out of what you're focused on. But for the first several years, and just to say this length of time, just to get people focused on the right thing, say 5 to 10 years. Here's the thing: if I say 3 to 5 years, the way your mind picks up on that time, you think 1 to 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. So I say 5 to 10 years, and you get that little feeling of shock, a little bit of feeling like, what the fuck? I'm going to focus on one thing for 10 years? No, thank you. That's the part that you actually have to overcome in order to be really effective. Because here's the thing: if I've learned one thing for myself, and me and my brother were talking extensively about this over the last couple of months, is how can we converge? How can we converge on the thing that's working best? Mitchell always talks about this on a daily basis. What worked yesterday? What can I double down on in my business, in my relationships, in whatever aspect of my life, health, wellness? What can I double down on that's already working, and get rid of the other shit? Because that's probably the biggest point is, Mitch, talk about this, taking on too much, putting more and more on our plates when our stomach can't handle it, right?
Yeah, well, it's at every level of growth, right? Because at the very beginning, it's like you don't know what you want to bet on in order to make it grow, right? And then as you do start to have some success, then you're like, ooh, okay, this is working. All right, got to add some more. And it's like, but when you add the wrong things, you just get all messed up, and then you stay stagnant. And what I've seen, if I really look back at what are the best bets that I've made, it is for sure investment in, one was TechnoTutor, because that helped me to actually change my programming. Because my programming, I was not programmed to become a billionaire. Now I am, and I still work on it every single day, right? Because you have to get into that unconscious. Then the other bet that I placed on is specific relationships and the network, specifically you, Kian, there's some other core people, Seth, Drake, like some of these main people, Cameron, Avery, so on and so forth, where I've placed my bet, my energy, my focus, my attention, my time, all of that on these relationships. And it has paid out more than I could have imagined. And it's paid out quicker, more than I could have imagined, because I've always come back to that. Because now we have a unit. It's like we have a unit of people that are all able to now collectively focus, and then I can reap the benefit of that. And then also I'm around people with that mindset that actually understand this stuff. And every day we're talking. So it's not like I'm out there and I chat with you for a little bit in the morning and then I have to go back to my job or back to my other business that's doing something else, and I'm out there, selling something or doing e-commerce or whatever. It's like, I don't do that anymore. I had to do that originally, but then I worked my way out of it because I focused,
Right, exactly. For all those people who are in that kind of position, doesn't mean you quit your job. Again, we're going to say this 100 times. What we're saying is you have to focus in order to come out of that position, right? There's absolutely no shit. In fact, I would say that I've said this on a Sunday call, and if you're not willing to put in the work necessary to work a job and build your business until you're actually free from your job, it's not just a fake free. Like the money actually provides you the income that your job was providing you. It's mathematically free, not just, oh, I don't want to be a slave. I don't feel like being a slave anymore. Therefore, I want to leave my job. That's a problem. It's a big problem. It causes a lot of problems in your life, right?
Yeah.
But in order to effectively leave your job when you're not be extremely focused, your time is limited, but you do have a lot of time. Your time is limited. You can't put it to everything, but you do have a lot of time, so you can't use it as an excuse as to why you haven't been able to build something effectively.
Hey, you cut out Asif. I agree fully with what he's saying. You can't use it as an excuse. Hey, yeah, hold on. You just cut out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's pretty
you
glitchy.
keep going.
Yeah, I'll message you here. Yeah, you can't use it as an excuse, right? Because everyone has 24 hours in a day, right? You got 8 hours to do your main, let's say thing for money. You got 8 hours to then, well, let's think about it, right? How about this? You got 6 hours to do whatever pays your bills right now, right? If you're still in survival mode, right? You got another 6 hours. You can work on your business. You got 6 hours to sleep and you got 6 hours to do whatever the hell you want. So you got time. Okay. Now, some of you who are really focused and clear, you're able to now merge that 6 hours of doing the basically merging what keeps your lights on, right? The survival with the thing that's really going to grow your wealth. And you now have 12 hours a day to do that. For some of you, that might be intimidating. You say, I can't do 12 hours on that. Okay, sure. We'll do 8. Right? Like figure out what makes sense for you that you can sustainably increase, and you can get a lot done in that time. But again, this is the other point I want to make is if you're now surrounded by people, for even 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day that are not going anywhere and they don't want to go anywhere and they're happy with their job or they're happy just selling e-commerce stuff or going and working here, being a bartender or whatever, like if that's who's around you, you got to now really start to look at how do you level up your own mindset, get clear on your ability to focus, and then focus on the right things. And if you don't know what those right things are, you got to reach out. It should be blatantly obvious. When I say, where's the most important thing for you to focus right now? It should immediately come to your mind. Like, obviously, where you could say it out loud and say, oh, okay, this is it. Right? So if it's not that obvious, you need a little bit of support, okay? And so if you want support with your focus, send a DM to Asif or to myself or leave a comment and say focus, right? Because we can help you refine that.
There's so many times where Mitch is talking to me, I'm talking to Mitch, and we're just like sharing our situation. We're like, I don't know where to go from here. But just by having real people who are who actually have their own focus. They have their own focus on building something for themselves. Being able to talk to people that have that mindset. It's so easy for me to reflect back to Mitchell, dude, here's your point. It's so easy for Mitchell to reflect back to me, dude, here's your point. Just focus on that. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. That would solve everything. Like, and it's always right in front of us. Isn't that always funny, Mitch? Like we chat for like 5 minutes.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, I'm so glad I had that 5-minute, 10-minute call you know, where it's before one of these audios, after one of these audios, or whatever the case may be, where it's just like, oh, okay, man, thanks, I appreciate it. You just go on. But and it's not to say that just because the realization is simple, have a massive effect, and you're focused throughout the day, and you're focused throughout the week, because that is literally all this game is. When I say this game, I mean this game of being able to make money and be effective. It's a skill that you have to develop, and what that practically, realistically looks like, the most fundamental point, is your ability to focus on a daily basis. If you can master focus on a daily basis, in the context of one day, you wake up and you know what you're doing.
Hey, we lost you again, Asif. But that was a perfect, perfect thing. Yeah, it's daily. It's every single day. Even on if you take a day off, right, on Sundays or Saturdays or whatever, your focus still has to be there. Like, I'm still focused on work. You had cut out there, Asif. It's like, even on my days off, right, and I'll be doing some stuff around the house, or I'll be hanging out with my wife or whatever, and yeah, I'll take moments where I will then just fully focus on something else. And this is especially for guys, right, where we have a very powerful ability to focus. We can like pierce through things if you really cultivate it. Women are super good, typically, right? Women are super good at focusing on multiple things at once, which is awesome in itself, right? But for guys, it's very much like, yo, go do the thing. That ability, when you can harness that, one, of course, on your business and the highest priority, but then even if you take time off, or in the evening, right, when you're relaxing, but where you still have a general, your thoughts are still going towards the thing that really matters to you. It's like those neural pathways become so well established that it's autopilot, where then you're still focusing on that. And don't go into now mysticism of thinking, ooh, on an energetic metaphysical level, I'm now, blasting energy towards my goal, or whatever. Don't do that. Just look at the practicality of it. If your brain, if you've established within your ability to focus in your body, right, not just your brain, because you're much more than just your brain, but when the attention within you and your intention is focused on the right thing over and over and over, and your cells then replicate, and those pathways are established and those patterns are there, it becomes who you are. Now when you show up, or even when you're just going through your day, it's like you're hardwired to then be focused on what you need to create. And as the saying goes, right, what you focus on grows. And so as you focus on it more and more and more and more, it will grow. And again, it's not some energetic metaphysical thing. It's literally, when you put more time into this, it will allow the space for you to then take the action to create it. And here's one other piece that's critically important. I think Asif's not going to be able to come back in. He's traveling right now. So look at this. Back on this point of time, right? I know this may not be fully sexy, right? A lot of people want the get rich quick thing. That's what's sold on Instagram. That's what your brain wiring is set for anyway, is instant gratification, rapid results. And hey, when your focus is right, sometimes you do get those occasionally. Right? But don't bet on that. But sometimes it does happen when you're doing the right thing over and over. So look at it like this. When you're focused on that highest priority item, it's like, first, you need enough time to focus so you can actually see the result. This is what we call going from 0 to 1. It's where you went from no sales to 1 sale. Or even if, going from 0 to 1 sales is too much, maybe it's you have the sales conversation, or you do the right activity that then leads to that result. Right. And so that's from 0 to 1. That's where you have to focus enough to get that down. If you don't have a proven formula that works for what you're doing, or what you think you're doing, that's going to make you the money, you gotta be actually following something that works, right? If you're just launching marketing campaigns, or you're just trying to talk to people about your product, and you don't have a go-to formula, That ain't like, it's just not going to work. So don't waste your time doing that. And if you're all hesitant or reacting to that, you got to reach out, because you're screwed. Okay. So you got to put in enough focus over time to get it off the ground. And again, maybe you've already had success in other businesses and now you're doing something new. Okay. You got to put in enough focus and time and energy so that it pops off from 0 to 1. But then here's the next piece. You got to then keep the focus on it, right? You got to keep the focus on the task at hand, because this now allows you to take the thing from 0 to 1 to then go from 1 to 100 and then 1,000. This is the amazing piece within human nature, within life itself, that when you can keep the focus and you have the right training, the right understanding, the right time, the right people around you, and the right amount of focus and just the proper programming, when that's all in alignment and you keep that focus, it allows you to then multiply what you've created. It's not just a linear, oh, great, it's growing. Okay, got one. Okay, got another one. It might look like that right now, right? It might be one sale, okay, and then one more sale, and then one more sale. But at a certain point, there's an exponential effect that will take effect. It's really amazing when you see it happen. And it might look like, oh, you make a few sales, all of a sudden one of them gives you a referral or gives you 3 referrals, right? Or one of them makes a video saying, hey, this was an amazing experience. And then that goes and it gets a whole new pool of people, right? But it's because you stayed focused on the one thing. And if you don't, right, let's invert it. Let's say you don't stay focused and your focus is scattered and it's divergent and you're confused and you're half-assing it, and you do that every day. What do you think is going to happen? What do you know is going to happen? Not just what you think. What do you know is going to happen with common sense? It's not going to grow at all. Yet, when you can have that steady, consistent focus day after day after day after day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, you see a level of result that is more than you could have initially imagined, right? It's like growing a garden, right? You look at a little seed, and what do you think you see? Oh, I see a plant, and it will grow fruit for me. Well, if you really look at it, it's like, oh, that each fruit might have 100 or 1,000 seeds in it. Oh, okay. Now, from one little seed, you could fill up an entire garden. And then think of all the people you could feed with that food, right? Think of the relationships that could come from that, because you now say, hey, I have this stuff to offer you. What do they have to offer you? What can they offer you in return? Right? So the analogy of the garden is so important. But if you don't have the focus to, one, actually plant the seed. Like we talk about planting the seed, right? And a lot of people go, oh, yeah, I planted a seed with someone, right? I told them about my product. That's not planting a seed. Planting a seed is when you can get it into their mind on a resonant level. You can get that information to them, right? If you're trying to sell a product, for example. So you got to be honest about what it means to actually have the seed planted. See, if you look at the garden, right? What do you just throw seeds on the ground and you hope it works? That's a recipe to have a failure of a garden. But when you can prepare the soil first, right? And then you open up the soil and then you put the seed at the right depth and then you cover it and then you water it and then you make sure you did it at the right time of the year and then you make sure there's enough sunshine and it's not in the shade, right? And maybe you plant a few more seeds of the same type, right? In this analogy, it's like, that's properly planting a seed, right? That is what is necessary for things to grow. So for yourself, right, use this audio, listen to this again and again and again as support for you to stay focused. Because YouTube, guess what YouTube's going to do, right? If you found this on YouTube or whatever channel you found this on, guess what all social media is going to do? They're going to try and pull your attention, right? Your most valuable resource, your attention. Well, one of your most valuable resources. And they're going to try and pull it all over, right? Because the algorithm is so damn good at that. Because it's so fun and exciting to find something new. Novelty, right? Novelty is dangerous. Novelty is extremely, extremely dangerous. And so instead of now going and, oh, now watch the 5 tricks on getting wealthy and watch this one life hack that made everything work and all this other shit on YouTube, you got to have focus. And again, part of what you do, you could get good at assembling certain types of training. Like, you need to still get training. But if you're just banking on YouTube recommendations, too bad. It's not going to be good. Here, it looks like Asif entered the waiting room. Let's see if he's still in here. So you got to have the focus very clear on what it is of the next logical step and what we would call your chief aim. And if you don't know what those are, again, you're going to have to just reach out because we can explain that to you. But when you can have that next step and the goal, the larger goal, when you have that like in alignment, where it's this focus, it's like a laser beam shooting from you right to the next logical step, into then the goal at hand, into the larger vision of you amassing tons of wealth and changing the world with us, right? That alignment right there is great. And again, it ain't gonna feel exciting every single moment. You know, it might feel shitty some days, but you just do it anyway. And then you reap the result, because reaping that result is better than all the time that you spent crying and complaining and wishing it would be easier and wanting to jump to the next thing. It's like, you got to just take inventory of everything that you're doing and realize, where's your focus falling apart? Also, where you focus on the wrong thing, right? And so if you want a audit of sorts to help you with your focus, you can DM Asif or you can DM me, and we can give you some guidance, because we've been through a lot with this and we've really figured out the focus thing. It's pretty epic what we're doing now and what is growing even without us now having to focus on it. So yeah, Asif, I see you're back in here. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Nice.
I will be back home tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the first time where we record one of these, and I'm at home.
That's epic.
5G. I thought 5G had my back, man. 5G failed me.
What happens when you bank on
Apparently,
big
throughout certain
corporations?
parts of right, exactly. They don't take care of the little guy. I thought apparently throughout parts of South Carolina, the 5G ain't stretching here yet.
That's
So
funny.
just to nail like two points that I just heard at the end there, your ability to effectively align your chief aim, your next logical step, and your dream, your ability to align those is your ability to say no to things that are coming up that aren't in line with that. Because when you start growing, when you start actually pushing yourself, when you actually start sharing whatever your business is with other people, when you just start putting yourself out there, it's just something you've never done before. Okay, so your ability to reject certain opportunities that come your way, when you're focused on the right things, that will be integral. This is the biggest caveat. Okay, if that I just shared with you, before I actually found the right things of saying no to everything, I would be fucked. I'd be so fucked. And this is the always comes back to the most fundamental point. If what you are doing is not in line with the purpose of a human being, you're not going to be able to take it far enough to see the results you want. The prerequisite to being able to take things off of your plate and say no to things is you actually have the right vehicle. You actually have the right people around you who aren't just successful in money. If you want to be successful with money and business, and you want to be successful in relationships and family, you have to be around people and getting counsel and mentorship from people who have those things. You can't just listen. You can't just listen. You know, I know this is an idea, and I'm not saying that there's, just to preface what I'm about to say, I'm not saying you can't get anything from somebody like this, but you can't listen to somebody who has a terrible relationship about how to make money if they've made a lot of money, but they have a terrible relationship. Because at the end of the day, you can't keep business and personal life separate. You can in a particular aspect of it, but generally speaking, it all comes down to who you are. You have to be able to manage all of those things effectively. So when you're around the right group of people, when you have the right purpose, and you've said yes to that, the purpose that takes care of the business opportunity that takes care of everything that you want, then your ability to say no to the shiny objects, to the different things that come down your pathway, to the different people that present opportunities to you, that will be integral, very, very important to your success. And the best way to do that is to have a council of people that you're always cross-referencing information with. Hey, Mitch, this thing came onto my lap. It would be me leading this kind of group. What do you think of that? And then we discuss it. Hey, what is that, like a really cool opportunity to break into a new network and bring people into what we're doing? Or is that just a self-sabotage that's going to take our focus away? Because I have Mitchell to discuss that with, I'm able to get really clear really quickly and make decisions really fast, right? So it's really important that everybody has that group around.
Yes, agreed. Well, everyone, that's what's up. That's one part of focus. I'm sure this will be a recurring theme that we go into many times with the audio experience. And if you're not in the Discord group, join the Discord, share the Discord with people who need to see it, right? Who are aligned with the bigger purpose that we have here, which is become the new 1%. So we can actually make a change in the world, right? And make a real difference to make the world a better place. And within that, right, we're going to have a ton of fun. I mean, geez, we have the event coming up soon, which sold out in record time. That's going to be a freaking blast. So that'll be cool. And yeah, we have a lot of different things that we're working on, that we're focused on. It's not a lot, but it's enough to where we know we can really take people to that next level, right? If that's actually what they're looking for, right? Because you get some people that don't actually want to go to the next level. But for those of you who do, right, reach out, leave a comment, and we can connect, because there's a lot of ways we can support and really making a lot more cash flow, so you have more money coming in, as well as then getting in the network so that you can have really be building that wealth over the long run too. So
and for those of you who want access to the exclusive juicy content that I was dropping when my internet had fell out, you're gonna have to keep listening to these, because I'm gonna drop that exclusive content for you guys. While my internet was really shit, I'll make sure I mention that stuff in a future audio, because it was juicy and you're gonna want to hear it. So make sure you keep listening. Share this with 3 people who you know might benefit from this. And other than that, Mitch, what do you say? See you next time.
Yeah. See you in the next one, right? Back when Asif's in his home office for the first time ever, right? This is about to be unprecedented levels of content and quality of content you've never heard before. All right, everyone.
Oh boy. See you
All
later.
right, go out in there and go focus on what matters.